Bryan Mbeumo is getting closer and closer to Manchester United. So in this video, I'm going to show you what kind of player he is, as well as the capabilities that he's going to most likely bring to Rúben Amorim's tactical setup at Manchester United. Without any further ado, let's analyze. All right, so let's get started with this tactical analysis video. And the first thing we're going to start with is Bryan Mbeumo's ability to counter press and to turn turnovers in the opposition's half into goal scoring chances. For example, here against Wolves, as Wolverhampton Wanderers are getting ready for a counter, as you see Matheus Cunha over here getting ready, Mbeumo steps in and wins the ball, but he doesn't stop there because there is still a goal to be scored. So he puts himself in a center forward position. Right here, Wissa just shoots at him, but still Mbeumo right here with a couple of steps back, he positions himself right in the middle of this diamond of Wolves defenders, and he's able to just finish it just the way a striker would. Here's another example against Fulham, who look like Fiorentina in this game. As again, they are attempting a counter-attack. Mbeumo is perfectly placed to win that ball. But again, notice his movement immediately after. He's moving like a striker. Look at that. He was moving in this trajectory, and then he just peels off in order to position himself behind Bassi over here in order to collect the ball into this space. This is a perfect center-forward move, and look at this. He just takes the ball away from Bassi and then finishes with his right foot, which is supposedly his weaker foot, but that's an amazing, unforgiven finish into the lower corner. Beautiful goal. Here's another example against Southampton, a goal kick from Flecken, and then as Southampton poorly cleared that ball, Mbeumo is the first one to react. He's very good at winning those 50-50 challenges. He wins it cleanly, and then now he's going to instigate a counter for Brentford. Most players would just be satisfied with this. Okay, so he won the ball back, and then he played the through ball towards a forward so that he can be in a goal-scoring position. But Mbeumo doesn't stop there because he identifies this space right here. So what he does, he actually makes a run to position himself perfectly to receive this ball from Wissa. By the way, great play by Wissa, who is also an extremely underrated player, and then beautiful smashing finish into the roof of the net. But Mbeumo, because a lot of people talk about him as a right-sided, left-footed inside forward kind of player, but he's more than that. He has evolved. He has grown as a player over the last 3 seasons. Right now, a lot of his moves are those of a center forward. For example, here, he likes to play in between the center backs or in between, the left-sided center back and the left back. Those spaces are extremely hard to defend. Again, perfect run to receive the ball, and then again finish with his right foot. So yes, he's predominantly left-footed, but he can finish just as well with his right foot. But of course, Mbeumo is the type of player who scores a lot of inside forward style goals where he receives the ball wide and then cuts on his left. So let's see now from this sequence against Leicester how he does it. He's looking to come into this space to receive the ball. And then now, as of course Wissa is making this run, which is again an extremely underrated move by the forwards, you need constant movement to create space. But Mbeumo stays out wide in order to receive the ball. And the moment he receives it, he's going to trigger, the 1-2-3 phase. Okay, so pinning the defender, cutting on his left, and then beautiful finish. And he didn't just do it against Leicester. Here is a clip against Arsenal, against Calafiori over here. But here we're going to highlight another thing. Okay, he does the same thing, pins the defender, cuts into that area. But this is beautiful. Look at the finish. His choice of the angle, and he's going to do the same thing against Newcastle in another clip I'm going to show you, takes the Raya, the goalkeeper, by surprise, because Raya is probably expecting a curved ball into the far post. No, he goes into the near post, and that's a beautiful goal. Now, here is another goal against Chelsea. Again, highlighting another one of his skills, which is his pace and explosiveness, okay? And his ability to make those runs, those poacher-type runs in behind the defense. Look at this, perfect diagonal run in behind, and then this is amazing. It's just being just fast enough in order to come in first and win those 50-50s. And then look at this finish. This is amazing. This is a Thierry Henry style finish. Had he missed this, I would have never forgotten him, because here he could have easily gone around the keeper and just slaughtered it into an empty goal. But fair play to him. This is a beautifully placed finish. That's a beautiful goal. And here, let's go back to that goal I talked about against Newcastle. Again, same thing. He's moving into an area where the defenders aren't, making himself available in order to receive the ball from Norgard, I think. That's a beautiful pass. He receives it, and then here he's going to do the same thing again, just pinning the defender, cutting inside into this half space where he can shoot. But what I love about this is that he goes in between two Newcastle players, and Newcastle are not noobs. They're one of the best teams in the league. But then the finish, look at this, surrounded by Newcastle players. Look at this finish, absolutely unforgiven. Again, choosing a very interesting trajectory. Instead of going towards the far post, goes towards the near post. Look at Nick Pope, one of the best shot stoppers in the league. Absolutely helpless, can do nothing about it. So with Mbeumo, he is an absolutely amazing finisher. Okay, so this is one skill that is extremely underrated. It's something that we associate with number 9s, and because he plays a little bit wide and behind the main striker, we don't really see him as an incredible finisher, but that's exactly what he is. Of course, a 10 in Rúben Amorim's system shouldn't just finish chances, but should also create chances. So let's look at that. This was against Chelsea. This is one of my favorite Brentford goals this season. He comes in from a throw-in, but look, he doesn't stop because he identifies this space right here, right behind Cucurella. That's where he makes the run. He receives it. And then look at this. Many of our players have been in positions like these, but were unable to capitalize on this. Not Mbeumo. Look at this cross. This is just the perfect ball at the perfect time towards Pinnock. It's just so inviting. There's no way that Pinnock is going to miss this. That's it. It's just, there it is. Score it. Beautiful, winger. Traditional, classic winger play by Mbeumo. But also he creates differently. For example, here, he's going to play as a center forward, collecting the ball and just linking up with Xhadi. First of all, very good first touch, finding himself in the right place, and then that's just the right pass. He plays really quick that he gives. This is Newcastle, guys. They know how to defend. And yet Mbeumo gives them no opportunity to react. And then that's it. That's just the perfect through ball for Xhadi to get into space in between, Burn and who's that left back over there. And then that's it. Beautiful goal for Brentford. Another thing that I like about Mbeumo is just how fast he acts. Speed of execution is extremely important, and that is one of the things that frustrates me the most with the current Manchester United players. Look at that. The moment he sees Wissa come in, this was against Brighton, he just plays the pass. That's it. He doesn't wait. He doesn't fool around with the ball. That's it. Play the pass, and that's a goal. And here, this sequence was, again, amazing. This was similar, actually, to Bruno Fernandes's assist to Højlund against Brentford. That back heel flick. Well, Mbeumo is going to do the same thing. Again, as you can see, he's not a player who likes to stay wide. He comes in centrally. He always identifies pockets of space where he can affect the game. And here, what he sees is that, okay, Lewis Potter is in a better position than I am. And then this space right here, that's where we can be dangerous. So he doesn't dwell on the ball. He doesn't stall the play. He doesn't think about it. All he does is this. Elegant. That's it. Perfectly elegant, and that's it. Brentford are able to score, and that's again testament to his creative capabilities. And then another thing that is extremely important is, of course, the ability to carry the ball through the middle. I talked about this in my Cunha analysis. This is something that is quintessential to the 3-4-3 system that Rúben Amorim likes. Mainly players like Trincao, for example, Quenda, whenever he played as one of the 3 forwards, you need to have players who have that ability to collect the ball in deep areas and run at the defense. The worst thing you want as a center back is to have a player like Mbeumo running at you at pace. This could have been an assist if Wissa had not missed that. But also, another thing that is extremely underrated about Mbeumo is his ability on set pieces as a left-footed player, because if Luke Shaw leaves, and I truly believe that he needs to leave because he's just not reliable with the injuries, etc. You cannot build a squad around players who just miss whole seasons, whenever they feel like it, okay? Or if he's really got problems with his injury, then go work on them somewhere else, okay? Luke Shaw has been here for, what, how many years? 10 years? Time for a change, okay? When that happens, Ahmad is going to be the only left-footed player who can take set pieces. So adding a player like Mbeumo, like this was just a beautiful cross for Norgard. So adding a player with these capabilities could definitely make us a more dangerous squad. So Bryan Mbeumo, just like Matheus Cunha, is a perfect fit for Manchester United and for this 3-4-3 system that Rúben Amorim favors. Both of them are players who can score, who can create. Both of them can play centrally or slightly wide, and both of them have very good ball carrying capabilities with pace. Now, when you factor in, their experience in the Premier League and the fact that they have been smashing it for the past 2 seasons, then that just makes them the absolute perfect transfer targets for Manchester United for these 2 positions. So I guess that the only main drawback that most Manchester United fans would have on Mbeumo, and by extension, someone like Matheus Cunha, isn't really related to their qualities as players, but rather to the transfer fees. But don't be fooled. A club like Manchester United will always have to spend 50, 60 million pounds on players. You know, if you want to be elite, sometimes elite talent costs money. Of course, we've been hearing a lot about Manchester United's financial health, how we are in a period of austerity. But of course, none of us are the financial manager of Manchester United. We are not the CEO. We're not Omar Barada. So they have a clear idea of the financial health of the club. But if we were to spend 50 million or 60 million on a player, I believe that players like Cunha and Mbeumo, who are at the right age and whose profile fits exactly with what the club needs and who are Premier League proven, is exactly the right type of player to spend that 50 or 60 million pounds on. So again, with Manchester United, I think all of us, there is a collective PTSD. And so even as I'm making these videos, I mean, I cannot tell you for sure whether Mbeumo and Matheus Cunha are going to be resounding success, because there is always a chance they might get injured the way it happened with Mount, or they would just become a shell of their former selves, like we've seen with players like Onana, for example. But we cannot control that. I can only analyze players based on their past performances and based on their profiles, okay? And with Mbeumo and Matheus Cunha, I think that they fit perfectly that number 10 role that Rúben Amorim likes to play. Plus, both of them are versatile. So even if we end up with another manager in a year or two, if things don't work out with Rúben Amorim, I'm sure that whoever comes in would be thrilled to have players of Cunha and Mbeumo's qualities. So anyway, guys, let me know in the comment section, what do you think about Bryan Mbeumo's transfer to Manchester United? Do you have any alternative targets? Please leave a comment. Until next time, cheers.